We live in a world that teaches us to judge quickly. A glance at someone's clothes, the way they speak, the things they carry, and we think we already know their story. But reality often hides beneath the surface. That girl with the worn-out bag looked ordinary, almost invisible in the crowd. Yet what she carried had the power to change everything. It's a reminder that truth rarely shouts, it whispers, and if we only look at appearances, we risk missing the whispers that matter most. The bag was more than leather and stitching. It was a container of history. Inside were documents, codes, and a legacy of unfinished battles. To an onlooker, it was just an old backpack. But hidden within it was the weight of generations, the kind of truth that can bend the future. This is the reality of life. The most important things are often invisible to casual eyes. The deepest struggles, the most powerful choices, the greatest risks, all of them hide behind ordinary faces and objects. Think about it. How many times have we dismissed someone because they didn't look successful, rich, or powerful? How many times have we ignored wisdom because it came from someone we didn't expect? The world is full of people carrying hidden greatness. Some carry stories of resilience. Others carry ideas that could change the future. But if we only measure them by what we see on the outside, we blind ourselves to the treasures they hold inside. The danger of judging by appearance is not only that we might underestimate others, it's also that we might underestimate ourselves. How often do we look in the mirror and see only flaws? How often do we forget that within us there is a story, a power, and a truth bigger than the surface? Just like that bag carried secrets no one expected, each of us carries strength and potential hidden beneath scars, mistakes, or ordinary routines. The reality of who we are is far greater than what meets the eye, so let this lesson stay with us. Appearances are fragile, but reality runs deep. When you look at someone, look with patience. When you look at yourself, look with faith. The surface is never the full truth. What truly defines a person, their courage, their choices, their legacy, is almost always hidden until the right moment reveals it. And when it does, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, just as that simple bag became a vessel of destiny. When the old man handed over that worn bag, it was more than an act of desperation. It was an act of trust. He didn't give her money, or comfort, or even words of explanation. He gave her a responsibility. In that single moment, a torch was passed from one generation to another. That bag symbolized the weight of history, the decisions of the past, and the unfinished battles of those who came before. Responsibility often arrives like this, sudden, unplanned, and without warning. Every generation inherits something from the last. Sometimes it is wealth, sometimes it is wisdom, and sometimes it is wounds that have never healed. In Elena's case, the bag was a physical reminder of secrets buried too long. But isn't that the truth of life? We all carry invisible bags, responsibilities placed in our hands by those who came before us. They may not always be fair, and they may not always be light, but they shape who we are and who we must become. The weight of legacy is both a burden and a gift. A burden because it forces us to confront challenges we did not create. A gift because it gives us the chance to prove that we are capable of more than we imagined. Responsibility tests us. It asks whether we will run away or rise up. The old man's choice to trust a young girl was a gamble. But it was also a statement that even in the youngest shoulders, there is strength enough to carry history forward. This keynote is not just about one bag. It's about all of us. Each of us is carrying something handed down. Values, traditions, unfinished dreams, or perhaps even broken promises. The question is, what will we do with it? Will we protect it, ignore it, or transform it into something greater? Responsibility is not about perfection. It's about answering the call, even when we feel unprepared. Legacy without responsibility dies in silence. responsibility without courage breaks under pressure. But when the two meet, when a person accepts the legacy and embraces the responsibility, history moves forward. Just as Elena's life changed in the moment she received that bag, our lives change the moment we realize that what we carry is bigger than ourselves. And in accepting it, we don't just continue the story. We become the story. Power is never just about strength, it is about control. Omega was not an army with tanks or missiles. It was a network, a shadow. Its weapons were rumors, psychological traps, misinformation, and unseen manipulation. This is the kind of power most dangerous of all, the kind you cannot see. The kind you don't even know is shaping your thoughts. And that raises the question: when power is invisible, who keeps it honest? Who draws the line between protection and abuse? History has shown us that whenever power goes unchecked, it bends toward corruption. A government that hides too much, an organization that answers to no one, or a leader who believes they are beyond accountability. These are the seeds of destruction. Omega's secret reach was not fiction. It is a mirror of what happens when human ambition meets secrecy. The question of ethics is not optional here. Without moral boundaries, power becomes poison. But there is another side to this truth. Some secrets are necessary to protect a nation, to guard people against chaos, to hold back dangers the public is not ready to face. The problem begins when secrecy stops serving protection and starts serving self-interest. This is the thin line every society must watch carefully. When the balance tips, when those in power stop being guardians and start being manipulators, society itself becomes a prisoner of lies. Ethics is not an abstract idea. It is the only shield we have against this abuse. Rules, transparency, and accountability are not there to weaken power. They are there to keep power human. Without them, the strong consume the weak, and the truth is rewritten by those who control the narrative. Omega shows us what happens when power forgets humanity. It creates fear, mistrust, and generations of silence. So the real question is not whether power should exist. It always will. The real question is, how should power be used, and by whom? Secret power without ethics is tyranny in disguise. But power guided by integrity, limited by accountability, and checked by truth can protect instead of enslave. The story of Omega warns us of the first path. It challenges us to fight for the second. Because in the end, every society must decide, will power serve the people, or will the people serve power? Elena was young, too young, some would say, to carry the weight of a nation's secrets. But history doesn't wait for the right age. It calls when it must, and often it calls the young. That moment when she received the bag wasn't just about inheritance. It was about choice. She could have turned away, refused the burden, and disappeared back into the crowd. But she didn't, and in that decision, her youth became her greatest weapon. The ability to step forward without the chains of fear that older generations had carried. Youth is often underestimated. The world sees inexperience where it should see courage. It sees recklessness where it should see possibility. Yet time and again, it is the young who choose to break patterns of silence, to risk themselves for truths bigger than their own lives. Elena represents that eternal truth, that fresh eyes can see what tired ones have ignored, and that courage, even when untested, can be more powerful than decades of caution. Choice defines the value of sacrifice. A burden forced upon someone is slavery, but a burden chosen freely is greatness. Elena's story reminds us that young people are not powerless, they are authors of change. They carry within them a fire untouched by years of compromise, and when they choose to act, the world shifts. Her sacrifice wasn't just about protecting secrets. It was about proving that youth carries a voice strong enough to stand against shadows. But let's not mistake sacrifice for weakness. To give something up, safety, comfort, even life itself, is not loss but transformation. Sacrifice is the ultimate proof of conviction. And when it comes from the young, it carries a purity that shakes even the most unshakable powers. Alina's choice to step forward was not the end of her story. It was the beginning of a legacy that told the world. I am willing to lose what I have so others may keep what matters most. Every generation faces this same test. Will the youth turn away, distracted by comfort, or will they rise, willing to sacrifice for something greater than themselves? Elena's answer was clear, and it is the same question we must all face. When the moment comes, when the burden is placed in your hands, will you choose safety or will you choose sacrifice? The old bag once carried notes, medals, and codes, fragments of a secret past. Today, the battlefield has changed, but the principle is the same. Instead of paper, the weapons are data. Instead of coded letters, they are algorithms. The fight for truth no longer happens in smoky back rooms or hidden bases alone. It happens in the very devices we carry in our pockets. Information has become the new weapon, and truth the first casualty. In this age, lies spread faster than facts. A rumor can travel across the world before the truth even wakes up, just as Omega rebuilt itself in silence, manipulating perception from the shadows. Modern systems do the same, bending reality through screens, controlling narratives with clicks, and shaping belief without anyone realizing it. The danger is clear. When people no longer know what to believe, power belongs not to the one who is right, but to the one who controls the story. But this is not just a warning. It is a responsibility. Defending truth today doesn't always mean carrying a bag of secrets across enemy lines. It can mean questioning what we read, challenging what we share, and refusing to let manipulation guide our judgment. Small acts, fact-checking, honest reporting, conscious awareness. These are the shields we carry in the information war. Each of us, in our own way, becomes a guardian of truth. The ethics of power are no longer limited to governments or hidden organizations. They are in the hands of ordinary people too. Every post, every headline, every broadcast carries influence. And influence in this digital world is power. If we are careless with it, we feed the same shadows that Omega once represented. But if we guard it with responsibility, we weaken those shadows and strengthen the light. Defending truth in the age of information is not optional. It is survival. The old wars were fought with weapons of steel. The new wars are fought with weapons of belief. If we do not stand watch, if we do not guard what is real, then falsehood will rule us silently. Elena's story reminds us that defending truth has always required courage. Today, that courage begins with us, with the choices we make, the words we believe, and the truths we choose to protect.